league where any mistakes change games, but you have to play a perfect game. And the Saints did not play a perfect game from that point on, but I just thought the energy, the passion, the hustle, like all those things that most teams would have said, hey, we already lost this one. That didn't happen with this team, and I think it speaks a lot about the character of these guys. Now, it's a win-loss business, and unfortunately didn't get the win, but I was really happy with the way the guys fought through after being down 21-0.
The response was really great after the first quarter, but I think even better after the second quarter. Now let's go hear head coach Dennis Allen's thoughts after this one.
I was encouraged by some things. We got punched in the mouth early on in this game, and I thought our guys fought back and battled back. Obviously, we understand there's no participation trophies in our league, so we're going to take the loss, we're going to own it. But there was a lot of things that I was encouraged by in the game. So, but obviously we've got to still play better. So go ahead.
Last year, you said you felt you needed to sit Jameis because injuries were piling up. Is there a consideration for doing that with Derek now that he's left 3 times?
I think both of those are totally different situations.
Well, they both had.
They're both totally different situations.
In what regard? Also.
They're totally different situations. All right, we're not getting into what we did last year, what we're doing this year. All right. Look, Derek's in the concussion protocol right now, so we'll evaluate that as we go.
Are the things other than concussion potentially serious?
I don't know that. I mean, he's going in for evaluation on a couple of different things, but he's in the concussion protocol. And look, I didn't mean to shut down your question, but yeah, I mean, look, obviously with injuries, you certainly got to pay attention to that. But I'm not getting into the business of we're going to compare things from one year to the next. So
Or just phrase it that way because y'all had precedent of doing that, and Derek's had the same shoulder injury 3 times and a concussion protocol twice now.
Yeah.
So I was asking if there was any considerations of maybe giving him a rest.
got it.
Is there any mounting concern at all with it being, concussion protocol again? 3.
Yeah, look, I think anytime you have a concussion, it's concerning. So, yeah, that certainly, and yeah, there's concern with some of the injuries that he's suffered. So look, we'll just like we do all the time, we'll go in and evaluate where he's at physically, and see where he's at physically, and then we'll go from there.
How difficult do you think it was for this team to probably recognize some of the atmosphere? A lot of Lions fans were in the stands. There were a lot of booing early on.
No, look, how can you not?
Yeah.
I think it was noticeable, and that's our job to change it. So, I was proud of the way that our guys, fought back, got back into the game, gave ourselves a real opportunity, and at the end we just couldn't get it done.
And to what do you attribute the early hole? Was that just poor execution, or was it?
Well, look, you have to give those guys some credit, right? They're a good team. They're second in the league in offense, and they took the ball right down the field on the first drive. We missed a tackle on the one run play, which created an explosive play, and they scored a touchdown. And then backs against the wall, we turned the ball over, and they were able to get another touchdown. And so now all of a sudden you're starting the game down 14-0. So we didn't start well. We battled back, we scratched and clawed and got ourselves back into this, and we're going to keep swinging and keep chopping wood. And I told the team, look, we're eventually going to break through.
Dennis, how much, or if at all, do you think Derek's performance, especially in the third quarter, was maybe motivated by the booing? Did you see any correlation?
I wouldn't be able to answer that question. Obviously, we're all prideful, we're all competitive, and we want to perform. And so, I thought after, he kind of settled in a little bit, I thought there was a stretch there where he played, really, really well. And, it was unfortunate that he got injured.
Early this week, there was a lot of conversation about does the team have or not have identity. Did you see the identity you wanted to see for this team?
Yeah, look, our guys fought, all right? We weren't perfect. I didn't like the execution early on. I thought it got better as the game went on. I did see explosive plays down the field, which I thought we could, potentially create. So, yeah, I saw some things that I liked, and yet there's a few mistakes that, handful of plays that kind of end up costing you the game. And those are the plays that we have to eliminate.
What was the main reason for the struggle defending San
Well, look, I mean, he's a good player. They got a lot of good weapons, all right? So there were some times where, we made a conscious decision to take Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the game. And when you do that and you devote more resources to that, it opens up some other areas. So, look, I mean, he's a good player. They're a good offense. They've moved the ball on a lot of teams. So, but that was probably the big reason why is we devoted a few resources in other areas.
Dennis, when you don't win these one-score games, and you come close again, do you think that at any point erodes a team's confidence to believe that they can do it?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything eroding the confidence of this team right now. I mean, we're going to keep chopping wood, all right? And that's the only thing you can do in this league. We're going to leave the naysaying to everybody else outside the building. We're just going to focus on what we have to do to try to improve in those areas so that hopefully we can eventually break through and win some of these one-score games that you're talking about, because we're obviously close, and we just got to keep chopping wood.
Fourth quarter fumble. Did Hurst make contact with?
Yeah, it looked like, from the shot I saw, it looked like as Derek was coming out under center to toss the ball, and James Hurst is, pulling and reaching, it looked like he, hit the ball.
You use that expression, leave the naysaying to those outside the building. Is that something that the teams in general have to make sure does not get into the locker room, and does this
Yeah.
help you believe that maybe it
Yeah, look, I mean, look, nothing positive comes out of being doom and gloom, like, obviously you got to make the corrections that need to be made, all right? And then you've got to try to accentuate the positives, and you got to try to minimize the negatives. That's what you have to be able to do. And look, we keep swinging, and eventually one of these turns our way, and we make the play at the end of the game that gives us an opportunity to win the game, all right? And then you develop some confidence from there. So that's where we're at as a football team.
I know it doesn't come down to one speech or one thing someone says, but was there anything you heard or saw or liked while you were down 21-0 that spirit remained?
Well, look, I mean, I think our guys just got over on the sideline and realized that we got to keep fighting. You really got two choices when it's in that situation. Okay, you can take the easy way out and you can give up, wave the white flag, all right, with a loser's mentality, or you can keep fighting. And our guys chose to keep fighting. And look, we battled back. We gave ourselves a chance to win against a really good football team. We didn't get it done.
It may be that, but what was the message at halftime?
That exact message. Keep swinging.
Coach, did they surprise you that they threw the ball late in that situation?
Talking about the last play?
Yes, sir.
No. That's kind of been something that they've been, ready to do in those situations. And yet, you're in a situation where you can't let them run it, and yet they can take the ball off the line of scrimmage and throw it. They made a play in that particular situation.
Dennis, the kind of like flip-flop usage with Derek and Taysom early, was that like part of the plan, or was that kind of game flow?
Well, I think it was always part of the plan to utilize Taysom in some of these plays. And then I think as the flow of the game went on, and particularly early on, I thought there was some success with some of the things we were doing with Taysom, and so we probably utilized it a little bit more.
Was it actually a tough decision?
Thought we had an opportunity on the big play down the field with Taysom in at quarterback too.
Was it actually a tough decision late in the game when Jameis obviously coming in late in the game and Taysom having been running the ball?
No, look, I mean, our plan has always been, if anything happened to Derek, Jameis is a quarterback, and we'll use Taysom in the same role that we've, always utilized him.
And is it the same scenario again, the concussion keeps him out as his shoulder fine?
Well, that's one thing that we're going to look at, so. All right, guys, thanks.
Taysom, I'm just curious, could you hear the crowd reaction when you would come into the game and when you would leave and Derek would come in and the booing and, what's your reaction? reaction to that?
I mean, I don't pay attention to that stuff. You know, you get locked into the game and take care of your responsibilities, and you know that's really it.
Did you like the way the team responded to the early deficit?
Yeah, for sure. I think you know that shows signs of you know the character of your team. What are you going to do when you get down early and face some adversity? And I thought guys battled and you know gave us opportunities to win that game.
To get close again and not get there, you know, how difficult is that to stomach each and every week?
I mean, yeah, it's frustrating. You know, I think you know the guys that have been around this league for a little while, you realize how competitive this league is, and you know, you look at games, and we had a couple turnovers, you know, that cost us points, and when you start making mistakes like that, when it's as competitive as it is, you know, that's hard to do. So, you know, it is frustrating. I think there's a lot of good things that you can take from, you know, a game like this, and we already talked about the character, the leadership of this team, and one thing I know about this team is, you know, there's no giving up in that locker room. Everyone's going to keep fighting.
Is this kind of a sense, though, that you're kind of running out of time, though? I mean, you only got 5, you know.
I mean, look, I think, you know, as you look at sports world and life and everything else, I think you realize you control what you can control, you know. So as we look forward, our mindset goes to next week, and what do we got to do to win next week, and that's all we can control, you know, and make sure that we put ourselves in a situation at the end of the season that, you know, we have an opportunity to get to the postseason.
Is this as much as that mindset has ever been tested that you can recall being here with 3 straight losses, the score on the scoreboard, the atmosphere in the dome, trying to stay confident?
I mean, yeah, it's been a tough year, you know, to lose, you know, some of these games that we've lost the way that we've lost them. But you know, as we've talked about, I haven't seen anyone flinch on our team. You know, and you can go watch the tape, the effort, competitiveness, none of that's changed, and it just, you know, it's a great representation of the resiliency of this team and the leadership of this team.
Jason, did you think initially you were going in on that last 3rd and 6?
No.
I think someone said it seemed like you were, and then you turned around and went back, so I don't know if they made a switch or something.
No. Okay, all good, guys.
All right, let me ask the same question you just heard me ask Jason. Is that about as much as a team can get tested with the losses piling up, 21-0, the crowd the way it was in the dome? I mean, is that a really tough atmosphere to stay competitive in and to stay confident in?
Well, you know, I thought we dug ourselves in an obvious hole, you know, early on. You know, I thought we fought back. Obviously, you know, towards the end of the game, you know, we had 2 opportunities to, you know, get off the field on 3rd and, you know, 8+, which should be advantage defense. So, you know, just left. Obviously, started the game, you know, slow, and then towards the end, man, we just didn't come away with the play, which is, you know, it's like it's deflating, you know, to say the least.
But I just mean when it was 21-0. I mean, keeping spirits up. I mean, is that in real jeopardy and when a team's in a situation?
Man, no, I don't think so. You know, I think with the kind of guys we got on the sideline, you know, obviously coaches who, you know, have been in this league a long time. I think a lot of us has, you know, kind of seen it all. You know, so you know, I wouldn't say we were discouraged. You just got to find a way to band together and you know, pull together, which I thought we did. You know, for a good part of it, and then, like I said, towards the end, just couldn't come away with the plays.
Hey, Tyron, having grown up in New Orleans and
understanding how passionate this fan base is. What would be your message to them? Here's the football. Oh man, obviously, it's disappointing. Obviously, I think we all need to play better. I think growing up in this city, it's no secret that we're all invested. You know what I mean? And so obviously they have a right to apply pressure, so to speak. But at the end of the day, man, we want family, we want community, and it's going to take all of us,
How big of a tough matchup was reported today on Titan?
Well, he's going to be a good player. I told him after the game. Just crafty for a rookie, man. The kind of routes he run, his frame, his length. And then obviously, anytime you and the quarterback on the same page, they're going to come away with some plays. I thought he probably had two of the more clutch plays, in this game. So it was a few third downs in there where we had everybody covered. And then, he's put the ball on his body, now it's first down. So we just got to do a better job in the back end of just challenging guys, understanding their route tree, what to expect. But, nevertheless, man, he's going to be a good player for a long time.
To see the crowd jump on Derek the way they did with the boos, does it reach a point where you kind of have to ask them to stop because of what's that right? Or how do you guys?
I mean, obviously, at a certain point in the game, right, like we're rallying, like we're getting back in it. We can hear our fans again. And like I alluded to, man, a couple minutes ago, when I think of Saints football, obviously you think of Drew Brees, right? All the great players that have wore these colors. But when I think of Saints, man, I always think of community. Like it has very little to do with the football team, in my sense. Obviously we have to play better, right? We got to give them something to cheer for. We got to give them something to be proud of. And so I think that responsibility, falls on us, as players.
Does that make it more emotional, you being from here, knowing how much it is community, and yet for one reason or another, you can't kind of get over the hump in a lot of these games?
It's been tough, man. This season hasn't gone nearly the way, we wanted it to go. Obviously, there's a sense of urgency, man. After a while, you run out of opportunities, all right? And so, you just got to find a way to, stick together. I think we got a lot of good players. We got a lot of good coaches. I keep saying this, but we got to find a way to always believe. And I think today was probably, a good example of that is, we down early, 21-0. Obviously, the crowd is not into it, and yet we still believe in each other and put ourselves in a position to possibly, win the game. So I'm proud of that. I'm encouraged by that. And then I'm proud of the way our fans came back, towards the end of the game. Like, we needed that. And so I think that had a good impact on us defensively because we were kind of able to put together, 3-4, drives where, we were on and off the field. So, man, we one team, we one family. And like I said, we got to give them something to, be proud of.
When you're in the middle of all that, if you're, Taysom said, he didn't hear the boos. If you're the type of player that does hear it, do the boos bother you more, or is it like hearing the Lions chants in your own stadium?
I'd probably say the Lions chants. Like I said, man, like we're all invested in this game, from media to players, family, coaches, our associates, right? Man, everybody got a hand in this. And so, obviously, man, like I said, I keep saying, we just got to find a way to kind of tune that out and stick together as much as we can. I think being a teammate of someone that is getting booed, you want to be encouraging to that person, right? You want to continue to lift that person up. And, Derek was able to make some plays for us today, in spite of, all that was going on.
Sorry, what is the mental middle ground? We still have 5 games left, but we are running out of time, and the hurdles keep seeming to get larger and larger.
Yeah, I mean, I think these really this next month, man, I think it's going to be a big test for us. It'll be a big challenge to see what kind of character, that we have. So obviously it's not over, by any sense, but there is a sense of urgency to, put together a good game, especially in front of our home crowd. So, like I mentioned, a couple minutes ago, I think that falls on us, as players to, be absolutely ready. And like I said, man, just give these people, give our coaches, our families, something to really be proud of, because I think a lot of people in New Orleans, they want to celebrate you. They want to be happy for you. And so, but you got to give them something to look forward to.
Just real quick, since we didn't ask, what did go wrong in the first quarter, you think, defensively?
The defense is easy. It's always about tackling. Obviously, leverage, fundamentals. I thought early on, man, like we were just, I don't know what it was, I don't know what word to use, but, we weren't ready. And so, obviously poor tackling, miscommunication, all the things that haunt defenses. I think that kind of showed up, in the first couple drives. And, I think after that, we kind of settled down. We realized that, like, we could play with these dudes. Like, they're not doing anything that, we haven't prepared for. But yeah.
Why do you think
one
that's
more.
been the case 3 or 4 times now? That's so uncharacteristic of the defense to have that happen.
I don't know, man. I can't necessarily put a finger on it. The only thing I can say is, like what's the common, the denominators is like, anytime we start slow this year defensively, it is always kind of came down to tackling, miscommunication, and it's giving those guys, opportunities to make it a two-score game, 3-score game. And so, we've had opportunities to get off the field all season long, especially early on in the game. We just haven't been able to get it done. Obviously, practice is important. I think you continue to, practice hard, and you continue to try to, sharpen the things that you need to sharpen. But I don't have an answer. I just, probably just say it's, what it's always is, when you play bad defense is, tackling and miscommunication. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Rod? Hey, James, do you have any type of message for Derek when the Bulls are going on early in the game?
Well, from my position, I'm always lifting Derek up. But from the city's position, like, I agree with Tyron. I believe that we got to give them something to cheer for. I know that can be difficult at times, but he was very resilient. He answered the bell. But to the fans, like, we function off your support. And I know that we got to come in and give y'all something to cheer for, but just know that you impact us, because we're trying to lift you up. We're trying to put on a show for you. So your support, your cheering, the inspiration that you give us this is why we do this. We do this for you. We wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for you all. So I just encourage all of y'all to get behind us. Like, that's what this city is about. This city is about resilience. This city is about, building and staying together. And despite our record, despite the situation that's going on, we got to stand together, because only people that can fix this is us, and that's y'all included. That's the fans, that's the team, and that's it.
Did Derek go through what he has just of late with injuries and kind of just battling through? What have you kind of seen from him, from like kind of how he's handled everything?
Yeah, my biggest thing is just continue to lift him up. Like, when you are starting NFL quarterback, like, a lot of things come with that. But he's handling it the right way. He's going out there doing his job. He's out there going out there fighting for his team, and that's that.
What's it like being kind of his teammate in terms of just, not only supporting him, but also like kind of maybe like?
Yeah, any teammate that I have, I'm gonna lift them up. I'm gonna speak life into them, despite what anyone can say. You know what I'm saying? We all out here. We're doing this for the glory of God. We're doing this to glorify the Lord. We're not doing this for no man. We're not doing this for no woman. Like, it's not for that. Like, as a team, like, the Saints are offense, defense, special teams, and our fans. Like, we are a team. Like, our fans are a part of our team. Like, we know, I've been on the opposite side and seen how this place was rocking and how that affected, the other team. Like, but we all are one. So if you are part of the Saints, I'm going to speak life into you. I'm going to lift you up, whether that's Derek, whether that's, a specialist. It doesn't matter who it is. We are together, and we got to stay together. We got to stick together. We got to dig down and just keep believing and have faith.
Because you know what it's like. Was it surprising today to see all the blue in the stands and all that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter about them. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about who we are. We're the Saints. And since I've been a part of this organization, we have always found a way to overcome any type of adversity, and we always stuck together, right? Because that's what it is. That's that Southern love. That's that New Orleans love, right? That's that gumbo, a bunch of different mixtures, putting together in a pot, and you make something beautiful. And we still have an opportunity to make something beautiful. We just got to have our fans support faith. As a team, we have to go out there and put on a show, do our job. I have to do my job better. Everyone has accountability in this, and we're going to continue to increase and speak life and push forward.
Jameis, how frustrating not to be able to come get one more drive in the end zone at the end?
I think just the entire game, playing from behind as a team, we want to get on top. We want to start dominating our opponent from the rip, and that's going to be our mission for this upcoming week.
How about for you? This is kind of an interesting season for you. You've now had 3 different games where you don't know at the beginning of the day if you're going to play or not. You want to put your best football out there, but it's been some urgent situations sometimes. Like, how tough is that to play under that situation?
I'm grateful for every opportunity. I view it as, a baseball perspective, as the closer coming in any given time, or a reliever coming in any given time. No matter if it's 9 runs, if you're down 9-0, no matter if you're up, 10-0. Like, you coming in there to do a job and do your best, and try to just go. Well, not try, but go out there and put on your best performance.
Jameis, Alvin had a pretty historic day today. Just how important was he to the success that y'all were able to find on offense?
Well, everything that we do goes through him. Like, he's the best player on our team, and that's what he expects. That's what we expect out of him. I'm grateful to be his teammate, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of how he comes to work every single day. When you are in a locker room with a Hall of Fame guy, they can just, do whatever they want to do, but he comes with an approach. He shows up on game day and puts on the show for all of us.
Can you talk about being able to come back and how you can channel that, maybe that fight as far as going through this final stretch of the season?
Well, I think it just starts with one play at a time. And when you're fighting from behind, you're desperate. You know what I'm saying? You want it. It's like you want it. Like, you don't want to go out there and get beat. I think that just starts with the initial punch. Like, you got to be desperate. When you think about the most influential boxers, like, they going in there and every punch matters. Every time they take a punch, it matters. They're desperate for victory. They're desperate for a win. And I think that level of just that level of hunger kind of propels you in those situations.
Do you expect that desperation will be present for this team for the remaining 5 games of the season?
I do.
From your vantage point, what would be the keys to string up some wins going down the stretch?
It starts one play at a time, doing our job to the best of our abilities, one play at a time.
Can I ask you a totally different topic? Your school being left out of the playoff, what your reaction is to it?
My initial reaction, I was hurt, especially with the defensive performance that we put on. The amazing job by our head coach, Mike Norvell, for finding a way to will a championship, with his third-string quarterback. I think that it's way bigger than what we can see from the naked eye. However, Florida State, you are continuing to have an incredible season, continue to persevere regardless of the naysayers, or regardless who tries to limit you from your destiny. We're still not finished. We still got to go and finish strong. And I just commend, Mike Norvell and that team for rallying behind Jordan and playing great football, going into the swamp, playing against a tough team. Anytime you're in a rivalry game, it's going to be a tough game. You saw that with Alabama and Auburn. I think Alabama's a team that they put in front of us, and finishing strong. Like, when you're a champion, that feels good. And I'm just proud of those guys. I'm proud of our head coach for bringing another championship to Florida State. All right, thanks.
That was head coach Dennis Allen and several players reiterating some of the things that you said, Scott, that he really felt like the team came together. They fought hard in this one after being down such a significant amount, got it as close as 3 points in this game. So they had an opportunity. However, it was at the very end of the game again when the Saints defense couldn't come up with a stop.
Yeah, it's been kind of, we've talked about it all year, the timeliness of not getting stops or unfortunate fumbles and turnovers or penalties that are just determining these games. Because, I think a lot of times fans listen to a player talk about, they're still fight. But that means a lot. It really does. Because inside the locker room, that means guys still trust one another.
Sure.
They trust their coaches. There's a lot of teams that have no hope, and there's just no fight in the locker room. So I think it is a big thing that this team is still fighting. But even Tyrann said it, you have to, when your time comes upon in the game to make a stand and step up and help your team and make those plays, unfortunately, whether it was not taking the ball away today or even at the end when you had a chance on third down to get up the field and you couldn't get those stops and those completions happen, those are the plays that determine games on Sundays.
You mentioned takeaways. The Saints did not have any in this ball game. However, they gave up the ball 2 times. Both of those turnovers leading to touchdowns.
Yeah.
For the Lions. How big of an impact was that on this game?
You do this every week, and it seems like more so this year, but it's, last week against Atlanta, if you don't turn the ball over twice in the red zone, you probably really win that game. And today, if you just take away the fumble at the end and then the missed catch early in the game by Juwan, it was an unfortunate play, but you get down that fast, the turnovers today. If you can just eliminate those type of mistakes, you look at the score and you think, well, this is a game we win by 10 or 14 points. It's such a fine line in this league. World-class athletes getting paid to play football who study the game and make it scientific, and coaches as well. It is just a fine line. And it comes down to 5 or 6 plays in most games.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough because you're going up against a difficult defense with the Lions. They're top 10 in the league, and then they have a lot of threats offensively, especially through their running game with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and they definitely hurt us a little bit in this one, although I don't think it was as bad. I mean, we were able to stop the rush a little bit better in this one than we have in previous games.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. And I think there were concerns by me last week when we did the postgame show because of the way Atlanta ran the ball, and you started to see gashes in the defensive run game, and you started to see the defensive line get pushed off the line of scrimmage a little bit. And I thought going against these guys, that was going to be a little bit the same. So there's big props to the defense for standing up today and playing against a really good physical offensive line. I think Laporta, the rookie tight end, was, he just gashed us, and he was probably the difference in the game, honestly. His ability as a big target and so fluid and able to catch the ball and get into mismatches, he was the difference in the game for them offensively.
Sure. All right, well, John DeShazier has been in the locker room. He's listened to some of the post-game sound. JD, let's bring you in now. We talked a little bit about how the Saints got down early. They were able to fight back in this one. However, there were a couple turnovers, costly turnovers by the Saints offensively. What were some of the things that stood out to you, maybe in talking to the players even, that you can kind of hang your hat on how things went in this one?
Well, I mean, I think we're kind of in a Groundhog's Day cycle, to be honest with you. I mean, the slow starts and, you put on a quick finish and then you come up short by a score. And so that's happened for the last 3 games, and that's a cycle that the Saints have to be able to get out of. The players are obviously disappointed because they can't quite put their finger on why they have the slow starts, why they're not coming out with a sense of urgency, why it's taking them a while to figure out what the opposing offense is doing or figure out what their own offense is doing. So that's got to be frustrating because you lost 3 consecutive games that way. And so that's something that the Saints are going to have to figure out. They've been trying to figure it out, obviously. It's a cycle that they want to get out of, and unfortunately, they have not been able to get out of it. Defensively, I'm not exactly sure what's happening with this team because the 21 early points, 7 came off a turnover, but if you're a defense, and I think Scott knows this, the best thing you can do in those situations is force a field goal. If you can't get the turnovers, you can't get it back for your offense, at least keep them out of the end zone. And the Saints haven't been able to do that. They were able to score in the red zone today, fortunately, so that's an encouraging thing after going 0 for 5 against the Falcons. I think they were 3 for 3 in the red zone today, so that's an encouraging thing that they were able to get there and finish. But you still have to be in situations. I think I might have been mistaken. Maybe they were 4 for 4 in the red zone. But still, you've got to be able to get in those situations where you get there earlier. You have to have a little bit more offense earlier, a little bit more urgency earlier. It took the Saints a while to kick into gear on offense and get things going against a Detroit defense that we knew could, you could move the ball against, and especially you could be successful in the red zone. So it's another one of those things where you've got to figure it out earlier. You've got to have that urgency earlier. You've got to have the execution earlier, and you put yourselves in position, a better position to win the game. You know, going down 21 points in the NFL, that's a difficult task to put on any team to be able to come back and get a win in that situation. And we see today that the Saints weren't able to do that. So you've got to put yourself in better positions to win games, because this is a grown man's league, and it's difficult when you put yourself behind the 8 ball and then you're fighting from behind the entire day, which is what the Saints were doing in this one, fighting uphill. And at a certain point, you're going to have a mistake, unfortunately, because you're trying so hard to come back, and you get the interception earlier that goes off Jawan Johnson's hands, unfortunately, and you get the fumble late that unfortunately James Hurst bumps into Derek Carr, and the ball comes out, and so a couple of unforced turnovers basically, and you have those, and you can't have that in a game where you need to be spotless, unfortunately. And the Saints have not been spotless here in these last 3 games where they've lost each one of them by 1 score down the stretch. So hopefully it's something that can be cleaned up. I don't think these guys are going to get discouraged. I don't think any of the players believe they're going to be discouraged. We heard Coach Dennis Allen said he didn't think there was going to be that kind of a discouragement where guys are going to lose their will to fight or, kind of throw in the towel. But you've got to have something go in your direction to feel better about. And hopefully the Saints are able to do that in these next couple of games here at home, because they really need to flip this thing around. They're 5-7, lost 3 straight, but still in position to win a division. You're probably going to need some help, obviously, but you're still in decent position because, you can go on a run here and make up some ground, but it's got to be now. It can't be later. It has to be now. And so hopefully it's something that the Saints can flip around, Erin.
Yeah, JD, it's tough because I do feel like we've been here saying the same things week in and week out. Although, as JD mentioned, they are 4 of 4 in the red zone this week, which was the area that they really focused on, something they talked about all week. So they were able to fix that and be successful on every single trip into the red zone today. So that's good. Chris Olave goes from over 100 yards, and without Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed on the field to distract the defense a little bit, he's still able to get his. Alvin Kamara gets in the end zone for his 53rd rushing touchdown, which broke a franchise record. So there are a lot of good things that still happened in this game. And unfortunately, again, it's just the score doesn't end in your favor. You're a former player. You've been in the locker room. What does the focus have to be for these guys going into the next one?
Well, to your point, I think it gets frustrating, when you watch these games and there's things early in the season the offensive line wasn't playing well. And it's just that visual of you're putting fingers and trying to fill all the leaks in the dam. And once you get something fixed, something else pops up. So it's just like, what's going to pop up next? And as players, you have that in the back of your mind. But I think the one thing is, you knew last week what red zone was a problem. You go in this week, the coaches are saying, listen, the things we're doing are working. Your guys' attention to detail last week is the reason why we fixed the red zone this week. So as long as you keep on paying attention to the little details that matter, we will find a way to win games. Unfortunately, the clock is ticking right now. Every game matters. You're in a race with Atlanta till week 17. Their schedule is super easy to finish this out. You, as Saints, you have 2 straight home games against very winnable games. You have to win these games. So I think as players, you take your confidence from the things you did well in this game against a good Detroit team and know that you have 2 winnable games coming up. And those things you've been doing every week, like I said, they're mattering. They're working on Sunday, and now you just need to get wins.
Yeah. It all needs to come together, and hopefully it will be next week against the Carolina Panthers as they are here, another NFC South division opponent. And the Saints definitely need to continue to get the wins, especially in the division. This was the last opponent the Saints had on their schedule that had a winning record in the Detroit Lions. So the schedule is set up for them to be successful if they can kind of just take care of their own business here. So hopefully that is the case, and we're back here next weekend talking about a victory over the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately, this one 33-28 in the Lions' favor. For John DeShazier, Scott Shanle, I'm Erin Summers. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again right here on NewOrleansSaints.com next weekend.